به نام خدا، سلام به جیوگی شماره 6 که در هفته هفتم خدمتتون تقدیم میشه خوش اومدید. در این برنامه که قرار با موضوع محرم از نگاه بیرون در خدمتتون باشیم، دعوت کردیم از حضار جیوگی نه در تهران بلکه در لندن. از قضا ترکیب حضار ترکیب خیلی جالبی شده. جوانان شیعی لندنی ما رو در این گفتگو همراه کردن. علاوه بر اونا یک خواهر و برادر اهل تسنن با ما همراه بودن، یک کشیش مسیحی و یک فرد عامی غیر مذهبی انگلیسی که اومده تو استودیو و دوست داشته درباره محرم و عاشورا یاد بگیره و در بحث شرکت کرده که پیشنهاد میکنم حتما ببینید. همونجور که میدونید مراسم محرم و دهه عاشورا در خیلی از شهرهای اروپایی و آمریکایی برگزار میشه. سوال من این بود: چرا با توجه به اینکه در غربی که به لحاظ معنوی در حال افول هست، یا حداقل این نگاهی که ما نسبت به غرب داریم، مراسم عاشورا اهمیت و رونق خودش همچنان حفظ کرده؟ نه تنها حفظ کرده بلکه روز به روز داره اهمیتش بیشتر میشه. این سوال اصلی من از حضار بود که درباره‌اش صحبت کردیم که بحث خوبی شد که همونطوری گفتم پیشنهاد میکنم حتما ببینید. با این توضیح و این معذرت خواهی پیشاپیش که بعضی وقتا من وارد بحث شدم که به خاطر اختزاعات پخش ترجمه نتونسته انجام بشه، که امیدوارم مشکل بزرگی نباشه. محرم در غرب چرا؟
Well, not everybody is materialist and unspiritual in Europe. Some people actually are into spirituality, but you could argue that exactly because there is a wide dimension of materialism, that you need the sacred. You need to emphasize sacred traditions, and I believe that we ought to bring back the sacred into public life and indeed into the life of the people. So Ashura is very relevant.
I believe that the message that was sent to us through the events of Karbala in 1400 years ago stands today universally, because obviously his stand meant that we need to implement certain things within our lives, and it still stands today in terms of injustices and oppression. And I think a lot of us who work for purpose of humanitarianism would understand that the humanity that Imam Hussein stood for 1400 years ago still reflects everything in society today.
از یک فضای شعاری فاصله بگیرم و بیشتر به این بپردازم که چه شکلی عاشورا تو زندگی روزمره شما تأثیر گذاره. فارغ از بحث‌های حالا خیلی فلسفی و نظری، چه شکلی عاشورا در روزمره شما محقق میشه، تجلی پیدا میکنه؟ آیا از عاشورا اثری در زندگی روزمره شما هست؟
I think from a practical standpoint, especially individually for myself, Imam Hussein was the epitome of generosity. So in this day and age, we need to sort of encompass that and take that on board and help individuals who are needy and who need our help. And so I feel like from that standpoint, it's really relevant in this day and age to sort of be generous and use him as a moral compass to sort of give from within ourselves as much as we can in this day and age.
Other responses. Reverend, I would like to hear your response.
Well, I would say that Imam Hussein fought the evil of his time. Yazid, the Umayyad tyranny in Damascus. And we have evils in our time. We know what's happening right now in Palestine about the appalling oppressions of the Palestinians. So insofar as we can in any way bring to people's attention the sufferings of the Palestinians, engage in boycott of Israeli goods and so on, we are doing in practical ways, we are conveying a message of Kabbalah, which is a message of opposition to tyranny.
من دوست دارم تجربه شما رو بدونم. آیا شما خودتون تجربه داشتید که مثلا در این مراسم محرم شرکت کنید؟ چه اتفاقی افتاده؟
Yes, 2 years ago I was invited to participate in the celebrations and at the Islamic Centre of England in Maida Vale in North London, and I found it very inspiring.
Can you tell me more of your observations? What did you see exactly? Tell me more about the energy that you felt there.
One of my interests is actually theatre, drama, and the playlets which are performed during Ashura. Remembering the martyrdom of Hussein, I found those playlets, although, if you like, not sort of professionally performed, but having a strangely mesmerizing impetus, a powerful mesmerizing effect on me. and seeing some of the representations, dramatic representations of a suffering of a martyr Kabbalah, I found those extremely significant.
من میدونم که در لندن شما کمپین هایی رو دارید، کارزارهای اجتماعی و فرهنگی رو دارید که از امام حسین و اتفاق عاشورا تأثیر پذیرفته و عاشورا رو به یک انرژی فرهنگی و اجتماعی تبدیل کرده. میتونید چند تا مثال بزنید برای من؟
We've seen various campaigns that are used during the month of Ashura, the month of Muharram, and subsequently after that, we've seen blood campaigns in the UK nationally, where people sign up to go and give blood in the name of Imam Hussein, which does benefit not just only the NHS, but in terms of blood and donation, which is quite problematic in the UK. Other than that, we've seen various campaigns where people are showing the love that Imam Hussein actually had, and we distribute flowers and roses, and various campaigns with young people coming forth, working overnight time to feed the hungry, and going out and sleeping with the homeless. I think what we've actually shown is humanity in various ways, where we can actually implement a lot of reform into our society by giving back in the name of Imam Hussein and everything that occurred on the day of Karbala.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that one of the strongest outcomes of Karbala could be that in this day and age, sometimes when we campaign for justice or if we stand against oppression, we feel that what change can I bring about by myself? I'm nothing. It's just me or just my small group. But Imam Hussein gave a strong lesson that we should not be intimidated by numbers. It was a very small group in Karbala that brought about a huge change that has lasted over 1400 years ago. And when we see the social media campaigns today and the other campaigns today, if Imam Hussein was intimidated by numbers, this change would never have come about. So I think intimidation by numbers is something, is a great message which came out from Karbala. And another thing is also about women, that mostly we hear people label Islam as women are oppressed, or women cannot participate in social struggles or in movements. But Imam Hussein took his sister, Bibi Zainab, who is actually known as Sharikatul Hussein, and it was her wisdom and her establishment of the commemorations of the tragedy of Karbala which has led to the message being alive until today. So the role of women in carrying forward movements is also a vital message which was put forward by Imam Hussein.
Reverend, I saw you nodding your head. Would you like to say something?
No, I mean, I absolutely agree with what has been said. And yeah, I mean, I get great vibes in this studio of people really, there is a variety of views, doing good deeds, learning to put up with sufferings or numbers which are not important. I'm getting really good vibes.
Thank you very much. Now, let me move on to my next question. I'm very curious to know, especially from those who try to explain Ashura to a sort of non-Muslim audience, how do you explain Ashura to non-Muslims?
Well, I don't want to hog up the discussions, but I was much impressed by an event in Leicester here in England some years ago, when they emphasized the figure of Wahab al-Kalbi, who was a Christian who fought at Karbala with Imam Hussein. Now, whether it's legendary or true, maybe it's not the point, but the point is the meaning of it. Now, some people are surprised. They think of Christianity, martyrdom, as something passive. That is not true. That is not true. The book of Revelation in the Bible called Christ the Lion of the tribe of Judah, a lion. And Imam Hussein fought like a lion, Wahab al-Kalbi fought like a lion. The philosopher Nietzsche said of a Christian is a Roman emperor with the soul of Christ. You know, quite paradoxical. So my point, what I want to say here, that it's quite compatible for a Christian martyr to fight. It's not just a passive. So Wahab al-Kalbi is for me an inspiration. It shows that Muslims and Christians can be united in fighting against evil.
Thank you very much. Other responses of those who've tried to explain Ashura to non-Muslims? Yes, please, go ahead. Thank you.
I'm not only a non-Muslim, I'm also non-religious completely. I've heard a lot in this room that I can relate to: helping the homeless, generosity, social cohesion. How do I explain Ashura? How do I respond to that? I'm sitting and learning, really. I was asked to come here as a non-Muslim, and I look at the events of Karbala as an event in history. I look at it in purely non-religious terms and just the history and the politics around it, really. But as I said, in the last 10 minutes, I understand it a lot better already. Before I was asked to come on this program, no, I had never heard of it. I went away and researched it a little bit, and now I know a little bit more.
Tell me what your gatherings are. What have you learned so far?
Well, what have I learned so far?
Yeah.
Really, as I said, I just read the basic, what happened at the battle, that he was beheaded and that the head was taken to Yazid, who the people are involved in the event, and like I say, I just look at it in purely practical terms, the way we learn in school about kings and queens and who succeeded who.
I think what they're asking is, as a non-Muslim, because most of us who are Muslim and we brought up with the story of Imam Hussein from childhood, our parents nurtured us with this love, and they would speak to us with this love and feed us with this love. So it's ingrained in us. But for you who haven't had that experience, when you hear about the tragedy where Imam Hussein came to fight against a dictator, someone who was tyrannical towards the normal people, who wanted to rule with absolute authority and with harshness, and he brought his family, so his children were martyred, his brothers were martyred, his companions were martyred, because they were saying, we're saying no to injustice, not because we want to cause any mischief, but we're saying no to injustice. So when you hear a story like that, which has been epitomized in many films, like films of Gladiator and Braveheart, where they came to fight injustice, this story is original, it goes back to them.
Definitely.
How does that make you feel?
Well, bravery is the first word that comes to mind. You said Braveheart there, that I can relate to.
I'm a Sunni Muslim. Actually, it's not Sunni and Shia, actually. We're all Muslims. And I live in London. I've grown up in this country. I've never been into Ashura myself. So amazing thing to, like you guys share, like the food with the poor people and blood donation and stuff like that. It's amazing. And the respect actually doesn't mean we don't respect him. Actually, we Sunni Muslim, we love him. But apart from that, the love and the respect for them is always there. So I think the more we come together, myself, if I come to more often, I think we can see the love for you, for Imam Hussein radiallahu anhu, and others. I think it makes it more easier for us to understand.
Tell me more your experience of Ashura from a Sunni perspective. How has that story been revealed to you, and how do you relate to it?
As a brother, what I see in the TVs and everything, like in Pakistan and other places, people do get harmed because of the Ashura. They get killed, they get this. I find it very strange. And like you said in the beginning, this is a culture, it's not religion. And the practice you guys follow, one thing is the unity among you. Whole world coming in one day, just waiting for that day to do this kind of celebration. It's amazing lesson we can take that. And if you see a Sunni Islam, I mean, we don't have that. We wait for probably Eid and other stuff. But the way you practice, I think that's why the really strong unity among you guys.
My focus was not so much on the cultural celebration. My focus was not so much on the religious celebration. My focus was more on the message of Ashura and the story of Ashura.
I think the story is beautiful. It's not beautiful, it's one of the saddest things probably happening on this planet. The way where they killed him and the way he was beheaded. This is really, we can see now that ISIS doing it probably. This is one of the worst things can happen to other human beings. Forget about animals. How could you be beheaded anyone? And he's the grandson of the person we follow, the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His grandson. This is inhuman, definitely. There's no doubt in it. But we share the same pain. As a Sunnis, we share the same pain. Only thing probably we don't do some of the rituals you guys do. And that's understandable. And somehow the media or others trying to make it look like, oh, it's nothing to do with us. I think that's not true at all.
I think the brother raises a valid point that unfortunately maybe us as Shia Muslims have not made the extra effort to convey the story and the tragedy, the importance of Imam Hussein, of Karbala, of Ashura, not only to non-Muslims but to our other brothers in faith who follow Ahl Sunnah. Because what they're seeing, unfortunately, is only rituals, and sometimes these rituals could be off-putting. They're not understanding the concepts that which we live by, which is from Karbala, and the stories and the impact that it has on our lives. So maybe it's a good opportunity for us to come, maybe different mosques come together from different schools of thought within Islam, and on this day they have programs, they commemorate in a way where it's suitable for both parties. I think the most important thing is to give the message of Imam Hussein and what he stood for to everybody. So either be it a brother from another part of the religion of Islam or a non-Muslim, but in a way where it's palatable for them, in a way where they can also appreciate it, because sometimes we bring our own culture, so that culture puts a curtain between the actual story and the person who's trying to find out the story. So sometimes maybe it's a good point that our brother has raised, that we need to go to the concept, to the core of the message of Imam Hussein and bring that to the people, as opposed to how we commemorate it, how we remember it.
Thank you very much. Is there any other responses before I move on to my next question? Go ahead, please.
Yes, please. I just want to know why we're not taught about this in school. We do. I did religious studies at school. Somebody told me when I was reading up on it, just a friend on Facebook who is a Muslim said that think of it like what the crucifixion is to Christians, loosely speaking. It's a very big event in Islamic history, Shia history, and it's key to understanding Shia beliefs, or at least part of it. And now I do a lot more. But I want to know why. I've never heard of this before. I'm 38 years old.
I think the problem is there's unfortunately within the outside of Muslim countries there is a slight element of Islamophobia, which is a fear of Islam in general. And because the tragedy of Karbala falls within that realm of Islam isn't always portrayed the way it should be. So unfortunately in the media we have people like Daesh, we have people like Al-Qaeda who have hijacked Islam, and unfortunately there's elements within the media where they want to show that specific version of Islam. So when the masses watch the media and they have fear and have this fear of Islamophobia, the fear of Sharia is taking over England or America, if you try to implement that in a school, you would get the parents making a big hoo-ha about it. So it's not just, say, the school system or curriculum. I think it's a whole way of looking at the whole Islam, the religion of Islam, and also us as Muslims, we're responsible to also push that, not just expect the Western media to do it.
If I went to university and studied theology or something along those lines, I would probably come across it. I was talking earlier about, basic primary school, middle school, secondary. Father, if you've studied anything like that, theology or whatever training you go through to be what you are, have you come across this in your studies?
A long time ago, actually, I taught briefly in a secondary school. No, it was not part of a curriculum, but there is an argument for including it, and I think people, it's such a dramatic event, clash between good and evil to some extent, you could say, but it would sort of make sense. But I agree with the gentleman next to me, namely that because of the tendency, some people say good does not photograph well. So when you show great positive figures, they're supposed to be not quite as interesting as the dark side of human nature. But here, so maybe that's the reason why we do not hear enough about it. But here is a case that we could emphasize the nobility of a figure of Imam Hussein and his universal message, and as opposed to Yazid and his gang.
So there was a lady in the background. Go ahead, please.
I just wanted to say that at university level, at a degree level, if you study Islamic studies or Islamic history, Karbala does come in the curriculum. However, it is taught as a political struggle war for power, for caliphate. Imam Hussein alayhi salam fought Yazid because he wanted caliphate. No, and that is how it is taught. Nowhere is the tragedy mentioned at all.
I was thinking more like theology. I totally agree with you. I said to you before we came in, I view it in purely political, historical terms. I would. But I'm guessing if you taught this to 16-year-olds in school, the same as you might learn about Ganesh or Buddha or anybody like that, it cultivates tolerance.
حالا که درباره داعش صحبت کردیم میخوام این سوال بپرسم چه فرقی میکنه بین اسلامی که از امام حسین الهام گرفته، از قیام کربلا الهام گرفته و ایده گرفته و اسلامی که امروز خودش رو در شکل داعش داره نشون میده؟ چه فرقی میکنه بین این اسلام ها؟
Well, of course, if a Christian fought a Kabbalah with Imam Hussein, but you can't imagine a Christian fighting with Daesh, because Daesh kills Christians or enslaves them or rapes them. So there's a tremendous difference straight away. A Christian could have shared a battle with Imam Hussein, but you couldn't possibly share a battle with Daesh.
There must be a massive difference, and the difference is that the religion of the Holy Prophet was a religion of love. It was a religion of compassion. It was a religion of tolerance. It was a religion of reflection and the ability for humanity to grow. Unfortunately, the religion of Daesh, ISIS, and Al-Qaeda, these kind of mentalities, is also the religion of same as Yazid, the person who was responsible for the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, because he wanted to use religion to control the people, as opposed to where the Holy Prophet came and Imam Hussein have come to use religion to liberate people and to make them free.
Can we all agree that Daesh is not Islam?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was just about to mention the same thing. I think the way the question was posed was the Islam of Daesh and the Islam of Ashura. I do not feel it's fair for you to say that there is an Islam of Daesh, because that is not a representation of Islam by any means or manner. And I'm very glad that you mentioned that, and I'm very happy that Reza moved it to a religious standpoint discussion as opposed to it being an Islamic discussion, because it's not an Islamic discussion.
I would say that as it's known that history repeats itself, and we're looking at that same history. Although I would relate that the tragedy of Karbala lives on today, but we could not even class the people who called themselves Muslims at the time of Imam Hussein at the time. They had no Islamic values then, and they don't have Islamic values today. Daesh still stands for that. So if you look at it in one way, we're still seeing the army of Yazid in form of Daesh, because they don't represent Islam, and nor would I agree at all that people, the followers of Yazid or Ibn Ziyad or anyone who was the reason behind Imam Hussein's tragedy would be classed as Muslims, because they stood for nothing, no values, nothing that dignified them to be Muslims, and that is the same case today.
در ایران یه دوگانه وجود داره، عاشورای شور و عاشورای شعور. عاشورایی که مسئلهش احساسات، مسئلهش عشق، و عاشورایی که مسئلهش عقل و عقلانیت. به نظر شما و با توجه به تجربه خود شما، عاشورا به کدومی که از این ساحت‌ها تعلق داره؟ آیا عاشورا یک مسئله احساسیه یا یک مسئله عقلانی؟
I think if I can give you an example of the difference between the love and the reasoning that you discussed. We have traditions from the Prophet that said you have to love us more than you love yourselves. So if we have to love Imam Hussein more than we love ourselves, there's an indication there that love is involved within our religion. And also there's a lot of emphasis on one moment of reflection is equal to 70 years of worship. So also there's, they're both in a balance. So I think it's wrong to say that it's either or. I think we have to agree that Islam advises us to have love and reasoning. And so the remembrance of Imam Hussein should have a balance of both, where there is love, but there's also reasoning to balance the love as well.
Thank you. You were nodding your head in the back. Would you be able to talk or respond to this?
I don't know if I was doing that, but actually I got into trouble now. I think emotion, of course, does play a role in everything. of that emotion, you don't get very far as well. But yeah, it has to be a balance, like my brother said. You know, if you love somebody so much, you can't sometimes control it. So people do go out of the line. I was just before I came in today, because I want you to know I'm going to Ashura. I have to know about Ashura, what it is. So I was looking into the internet. What are the opinion of the both sides of the scholars regarding Ashura? And they even said, look, you don't harm yourself. If you don't harm yourself, it's fine. Do it. It's not a problem. Same with the Sunni Islam, and they even saying same thing. Don't harm yourself. Apart from that, it's okay. But you know, both sides, we got some crazy people. You will get that. They will use bad words and big words. But we need to ignore those things. If you can do it peacefully and if it helps people, go ahead. It's fine.
Thank you very much. Other responses to this dichotomy of love and reason? Go ahead.
Just to respond to what you just said, I mean, they have the same in the Catholic Church at Opus Dei. I believe that as an atheist, your body is yours to do whatever you like with. That probably contradicts what it says in the Quran. I haven't read it, but it's live and let live, really. If that's what Shia do to commemorate Ashura, let them get on with it. It's their business. I mean, certainly in the West, that secular Britain, who cares what we think? Somebody's faith, sacred. As you said, bring the sacred back in.
خیلی ممنون، خیلی لطف کردید که به استودیو جیوگی تشریف آوردید. دوست دارم که جمع‌بندی شما رو بشنوم. هر چی دوست دارید بگید، بفرمایید.
Imam Hussein for me was revolutionary. He stood for peace, love, and justice, and everything that is good. He's my moral compass, and yeah, pretty much he's taught me everything, and I've learned a lot from the events of Karbala.
I pray to see the day where we don't have an Imam Hussein that belongs to the Shias or the Muslims. I would like to see an Imam Hussein that belongs to everyone. The reason I say this is because I feel that we tend to, as Shias, we like to hijack the message of Imam Hussein, believing it's our message. And I feel that we have to do much more in our way, based on the discussions that we had today, not only amongst other belief schools of thought and other non-Muslims or non-believers. I think we should have more of an open dialogue amongst ourselves as well to see if the message of Imam Hussein within our schools are being preached the correct way.
Thank you.
At last, I just want to say, as a whole, I think we are actually one, and we need to preach more, and especially people in Tehran. From a Sunni person, my salam, and actually we love each other, actually. So somebody in the middle playing a bad man, I think we should move that bad man away and do stuff together. Thank you very much for your time.
Can I just say, a word has been used a moment ago by a lady, I think the word revolutionary, and I like that word a lot, because a revolution is what we need. We do need a spiritual revolution here in the West. We perhaps even a political revolution, but I don't want to make it too controversial. But revolutionary is what I would call Imam Hussein, yes.
May I hear from the non-Muslim audience as well?
As you just said, there is a lot about this you can apply to your life, and I can do that. I don't have to be a Muslim to do that. I've learned a lot today, thank you. I think I need to go away and read a bit more.
خیلی ممنون، خیلی لطف کردید که در جیوگی این هفته با ما همراه بودید. من خیلی خوشحال هستم که تونستم با شما در لندن صحبت کنم و امیدوارم که این گفتگو بتونه ادامه پیدا کنه در جیوگی. با جیوگی همراه باشید. خب خیلی ممنون که در این گفتگو صمیمانه با ما همراه بودید. امیدوارم که بتونیم این جنس گفتگوها رو با حضار کشورهای دیگه در جیوگی ادامه بدید. با ما همراه بشید، اینستاگرام ما رو دنبال کنید، به ما پیامک بزنید. اگر دوست دارید به عنوان یکی از حضار در برنامه ما شرکت کنید، حتما به ما پیامک بزنید. وبسایت ما فکر کنم که خیلی زود قراره آماده بشه. تا فردا شب که با جیوگی دیگر خدمتتون هستیم. خدا